Hello everybody, my name is Kyle and I'm here today to do a little cooking demo for you. Just a little background about myself. I've been working with the junior board for about 2 years now and we're super excited to continue to work together to help out the center in any way we can. So today we're going to make an Asian inspired Hawaiian wing, a little take on a bar wing if you will, and then we're also going to make a little cocktail. I'm also going to show you how to make proper white rice. So with that, let's get started. So the ingredients we're going to be using today to make this dish, we're going to have green onions or scallions, some nice fresh cilantro, a couple jalapenos, some crushed pineapple that was just in a jar, some chopped fresh garlic, a few limes, an onion, just a regular white or Spanish onion. We have rice wine vinegar, mirin, which is a sweet seasoned cooking rice wine. We also have white sesame seeds that have been toasted already, and some kikkoman soy sauce. And if you're gluten-free, that would be tamari, which is a gluten-free soy sauce. Over here we have just some frozen chicken wings that we picked up at the grocery market, and we thawed them out, and they've been just drying out a little bit because when you want to fry something, water and oil doesn't mix well, so we went ahead and dried them off, and so they'll be ready to cook and get nice and crispy for us. For the rice, we chose jasmine rice, which is a nice neutral rice, very easy to cook, and leads to a nice flavor. Alright, so over here with the rice, I have a pot of boiling water going. So with rice, especially with jasmine rice, some people wash the rice, but I think it's not necessary to wash your rice. So for cooking, it's going to be a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 to 2.5 to 1 ratio. So over here we have 2 cups of white rice, and I have 3 cups of boiling water. And that boiling water has been salted, just like salty like the sea. So we're gonna go ahead and pour this in there. Okay. So from there, we're gonna go ahead and give it one quick stir to get it all mixed around so it doesn't stick right away. Alright, so now we're gonna basically bring this water back up to a boil, and once it gets to a boil, we will reduce it down to the lowest possible heat and cover it for 10 minutes. Alright, so we'll come back to that right now, but before we start cooking, let's go ahead and make a little cocktail, something to sip on while we're cooking, because cooking's always a little bit more fun when you have something to drink with it. So what we have here is Aperol, or you can use Campari. Basically it's just a bittering liquor, and it adds a nice color to it. We have a rum. In this case I just chose a spiced rum in the sense of Oakheart. We have fresh organic pineapple juice. And then we have a little bit of fresh lime as well. Alright, so to start this off here, I'm going to grab my shaker. Fill it with a couple cubes of ice. My nice decorative glass. Also filled with ice. So, for this, we want to use equal parts of rum and pineapple juice. In the case, we're going to use 1.5 ounces of rum, 1.5 ounces of pineapple juice, and 3/4 of an ounce of Aperol or Campari. And last but definitely not least, 1/2 of a squeezed lime. which generally is right around an ounce or 3/4 of an ounce. This one was a nice juicy lime. All right. So, take your garnish, go ahead and pop that right in the glass. Cover. And shake it up until it's nice and cold. Right over the ice and over the lime. It's a little extra for your sous chef out there, whoever's helping you out cooking. Cheers. Very refreshing. Very, very refreshing. We have lime, lots of pineapple. It almost tastes like a dreamsicle. So cheers, and let's get back to cooking some food. So, back to our rice. By this time, after you've made yourself a little cocktail, we have a nice boil going there. So now we're going to take it all the way down to the lowest possible heat that you can have. Okay? And we're going to cover it. I'm going to actually move it to this burner because this one is a little bit lower. Alright. So the lowest possible heat. And then we're going to go ahead and set a timer for 10 minutes. So this is going to go on low heat for 10 minutes, and then it's going to go off heat without opening it up for 11 minutes. So we'll get back to that. Meanwhile, we have our nice dried wings, and I also have a fryer that's preheated to 375 degrees. I am lucky to have a fryer. If you're not lucky to have enough to have a fryer, you can take a cast iron pan, and you can also fill that with oil as well and kind of make a shallow fryer. So let's go ahead and put these in here. These are all pretty nice and evenly sized, so I'm going to go ahead and drop them in there. Make sure not to burn yourself when you're dropping them in here. Nice and slow. Alright. This is why we wanted them nice and dry for us, so that we weren't, when we go to drop them in, they're not going to splash up on us too much. And notice I'm doing the legs a little bit before the wings because the legs will take a little bit longer to cook. Alright. Getting those guys in there. Always make sure to be careful when you're working with hot oil. Basically right now it's all just steam and moisture leaving the skin so that it ends up getting nice and crispy for us. So, when we put this chicken in here, it's going to generally take about 13 to 14 minutes if you're going from raw. So 13 to 14 minutes later, these chicken wings should be pretty nicely cooked for us. And nice and crispy. Alright. Alright, so now that we have our wings in there, we can start to go and make the sauce for it. So I'm going to give my hands a quick wash. Alrighty, so now back to our other ingredients here. So I'm just going to show you how I would prepare this sauce in any kind of kitchen that I'm working in. So first, I'll go ahead and peel a white onion. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and take half this white onion. Go ahead and peel it back. Get all the skin off of it. Luckily for me, I've been cutting onions for about 10 years now, so they don't necessarily make me cry, but hopefully you're not afraid of an onion. So we're going to go ahead and do what they call a small dice on this onion. So this is a very easy way to learn how to cut an onion and have it nice and small dice for you. So we went and cut off the tip end, and then you leave the root end on so that you're able to hold the onion without it falling apart in your hands. So basically we're going to make 3 cuts. One this way, one this way, and then one this way. And that should give us a nice perfect dice so that we have nice even cooking with the onion. So I'm going to go ahead and go about a 1/4 inch up on each one of these. Basically want to just run your knife through, tip the tail so that you don't have to worry about pushing too hard on it. Alright, so we have it like that. So now that was our first cut. Now we're going to turn our onion towards us, and we're going to run the knife down on the onion like this. Alright, and some little bits will come out, and that's alright. Okay. So, now that's our second cut, the one that went down on top of the onion. For our third cut, we're going to take it and run down even like that, and we also see, you can kind of see here, we have a nice dice on the onion. So that's going to lead to nice even cooking for our onion. Alright, so the rest of the onion here, we'll cut up most of that. Alright, I'll save that little piece there. This is good enough. That was a pretty large onion. I would say a smaller onion would probably be good. Okay, so now we'll move that over to the side for us. Okay, so this part is subjective. I like spicy wings, so I'm going to use a little bit more jalapeno than you might, but I'll let you decide on how much jalapeno you'd really like, but I'll show you what I choose to do. So I'm going to take the jalapeno and cut it in half, only one way, and then I'm going to run my knife down it, nice thin slices. Nice thin slices on the jalapeno so that when you get a bite of it, you're not blown away. When they cook down, it'll be a little bit nicer to eat. Okay, so that's what we have right there, and I'm going to go ahead and cut up another one for myself because I like it spicy. Alrighty, so from here we'll go ahead and start the sauce, and we'll come back to some more of these other ingredients. So come on over here, and we're going to go ahead and get our nice wok style pan on some medium-high heat, and we're going to use a nice neutral oil, a vegetable oil, something that doesn't impart a lot of flavor, because we really don't want to add too much other flavors than the flavors that we're actually cooking with. So this, in my case, this is a canola oil, a nice neutral oil. I'm going to go ahead and add some in the pan here. It's probably about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of oil for that amount of product. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and let that get hot. Alright. So while that's getting hot, let's come back over here and let's talk about our other ingredients that we're going to be adding in here. I already have pre-bought chopped garlic. That makes it easier for us. You don't want the sticky fingers with garlic. A lot of people will just buy chopped, fresh, already chopped garlic. So that's what I have here. This is just Dole crushed pineapple and juice. It's going to add nice texture to the dish when we go ahead and cook it. It will help make the wings nice and sticky. Alright. We have fresh cilantro to top with, and we also have the fresh scallion that we're going to top with along with our lime juice. Alright. So now that we have our oil heated up, alright, generally takes about 15 to 20 seconds for that oil to heat up if you got a nice hot pan going. I'm basically going to take this onion, throw it in the pan. You hear a nice light sizzle. We don't want to burn them right away. So we add medium-high heat on that, all right? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook down these onions with these jalapenos until what we would like to call translucent. So I'll show you what translucent looks like in a minute here. But basically it means that we're gonna be able to see the product change a little bit, and it'll be a little bit more opaque, so that we'll be able to see what that looks like here in a second. Let's give it a stir. We don't want to burn any of it, so it's nice to give it a stir, show a little shake. If you're more skilled, then you can even get a little flick action in there, but I'm just showing off a little bit. Alright, so that'll take another couple minutes here. We'll come back and continue to stir in these. Let's check out our wings. Let's give them a little shake. So over here we got our wings, looking nice. You can see that the moisture is bubbling anymore. They've started to cook out all the moisture that's in the skin. And now they're going to start working on getting a little bit crispy. But every once in a while, just give them a shake. You don't have to worry about them too much, but we'll give them a little shake every once in a while. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, so now that our timer is gone, that's been 10 minutes on the heat. So now we're going to go ahead and completely turn this off. I'm not going to open up the lid, and we're going to go ahead and leave it there. Set another timer. This timer we're going to go ahead and set for 11 minutes. So like I said before, we want to bring the rice up to a boil, and then we're going to go ahead and reduce it down to the lowest possible setting. And then we're going to take it and turn it all the way down and let that cook for 10 minutes. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit more of this canola oil. All right, because we can start to see that the product itself is starting to turn a little bit different color. The jalapenos are getting a little bit more light in color, and you can kind of start to see it through them, and the onions as well. All right. So at this point, I'm going to turn up the heat all the way. Give it a quick couple mix here. All right. I'm going to take my tablespoon of chopped garlic. I'm going to drop that in there. Alright, we're going to saute that on. So we're starting to get the reason I decided to put the onions and the jalapeno in first is because I know that that'll take a lot longer to cook than the garlic. Garlic tends to burn really quickly. So that's why I wanted to add it in at the last second there with plenty of oil to be able to surround the garlic and help saute it. Alright, so from this part right here, you can start to see that our onions are starting to soak up a little bit of that caramel color, which is nice, which we're trying to go for. We have a nice high heat going. Alright. Generally this process takes about a minute for the garlic to get cooked. Alright. Then we're going to take our pineapple, crushed pineapple in juice. We're going to go ahead and add that in there. Go ahead and mix that around a little bit. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and let that pineapple caramelize just a little bit. Alright. Well, that pineapple is caramelizing a little bit. We're going to go ahead and measure out our other ingredients. So, from this, we'll need about a cup to a cup and a half of soy sauce. So I'm going to start with a cup. Alright. We're going to take about 3/4 of a cup of pineapple juice, the stuff that you made your cocktail with. To that, we're also going to add about 3 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. Okay. All right. So we have our pineapple over here in the pan, cooking that a little bit, getting a little bit caramelized. You can start to see that the color's changing a little bit. You can start to smell that caramelized pineapple, which smells great. Alrighty. So from there, we're going to go ahead and add in our pineapple juice and our soy sauce. Alright, and we're going to continue to let that go on high heat. Real high heat. We want to reduce this down until it gets nice and sticky. Nice and sticky. And all those sugars should definitely lend to helping that out. You might not need to add anything to it. But we'll see here how much sugar is actually in our pineapple. Alright. You want to go ahead and take another sip of your drink and enjoy the process here. I don't actually think I told you about the name of this cocktail. This is called the Jungle Bird cocktail. It was originally produced in the 1970s as a speakeasy style prohibition drink. It lends more towards a tiki style drink, in my opinion. But it's really nice. If you like creamsicles, if you like citrusy and pineapple-y, then this will be right up your alley, and it's nice to be able to have something to drink while you're cooking. I know I cook for a living, so I can't do that, but when I'm at home, I definitely like to have some fun cocktail with my family while we're cooking. So, cheers to that. Alright, so let's take a look at our timer here. We have about 5 minutes left on our rice, and probably about 5 minutes left on our chicken wings, and probably close to about 5 minutes on our sauce. So we're looking good here on a timing wise. So let's go ahead and come back over here and we'll get some of our garnishes together for when we decide to plate up our dish. Clean up my area a little bit here. Give these wings a little shake. Alright, so with the cilantro, a lot of people tell you to pick your cilantro, but I think the stem is a very flavorful part of the cilantro. So especially in restaurants and kitchens, we love to use the whole thing, the stem and the leaf. So basically I'm just going to get it into a nice little ball here, and I'm going to run. You want to take your knife and kind of make like a paw with your hands so that you can run your knife along your fingers without actually cutting any of your fingers. So it's a nice safety tip. So I'm going to take it, kind of ball it up a little bit, and I'm going to run my knife down the green, alright, to make like a nice little, we call this a julienne. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and julienne this. Alright. So that's very nice, and we have a nice pieces here that will not too big to eat and not too small where you're bruising the herb. It's nice to have a really nice sharp knife so that you don't damage the herb too much and you're able to keep a lot of the herb oils intact. So for these scallions green onions, these are pretty nice, but sometimes they have this little bit of darker leaf, so I like to just pull those off. I already washed these, so then we have, just pull off a little bit of that, and then I take the tips, and I like to, a lot of the times the tips are a little bit dried out, so I like to get it. We're going to go ahead and cut this on a bias, using our bear claw technique there. We're going to go ahead and cut this on a nice bias, so that we can get, it just looks nicer that way. So we're going to go ahead and cut it like this. Nice long strokes, nice long thin strokes here, so that we ended up getting something nice and long and oblique like that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut some of these. Don't worry about speed on this. It's okay to take your time with your knife, and just remember to just try and make it look nice. This is the fun part. This is what makes the food look really nice and clean when we go ahead and go to plate up this dish. Alright, So I just want the green, and for my own taste right now, the white is definitely a good thing to use. But I'm just going to use the green because it's a little bit more in a mild flavor. The white tends to get more along the lines of an onion. So I'm going to go ahead and chop up this one as well. Alright, so now we have our green onions chopped up. Okay. So these are what we would call our garnishes, our finishing touches. Along with the white sesame seeds, we're going to call that a garnish as well. So these are things that we want to top it with to make it nice and fresh and herbaceous and nice and refreshing to eat. So now we have our garnishes ready. Let's go ahead and cut up a couple of these limes as well because I want to add that into the sauce to finish it as well. Alright, so we have that. Let's go ahead and check our timer. We got about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to go ahead and check out these wings. The wings are starting to look really nice and starting to get to that golden crispy color that we want. And then for any kind of poultry, chicken, we want to try and shoot for a temperature range of 165 or more. With something like these wings, it's really hard to kind of guess that, so that's why I say right around that 14 to 15 minutes in a 375 degree fryer will get you right where you need to be at that 165 degree mark. And another thing to worry, you shouldn't worry yourself with it. With wings in general, right around the bone there tends to be a little bit of blood. That's nothing to be worried about. After 15 minutes your wings should be perfectly cooked, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Let's check out our sauce here. So our sauce is starting to reduce down. It's starting to get a little bit stickier. Alright, and that's what we're really looking for. Since we're making a sticky wing, we're trying to get it nice and sticky. So we have a little bit longer to go on this sauce, but that's perfect. So we're right on track with where we want to be. You can start to see the bubbles are a little bit more spaced out, and that means it's starting to reduce down nicely. Alright, I'm going to give this a taste while we're sitting here. Very good. Alrighty. So, alright, there's our rice timer, so let's go ahead and check out our rice. I'm gonna show you how I like to season my rice. I like to season it with mirin and rice wine vinegar just to give it a little bit like a little sweet and what's the word I'm looking for? Sweet and tangy on the rice. Alright? So, while we're waiting for that sauce to be finished up, I went ahead and grabbed a nice plate that I want to plate my my dish in. So let's grab this rice. So as you can see, it's perfectly cooked white rice. So what I like to do from here is I like to take a fork, and this is what we like to call fluffing the rice. So you take the rice and you just kind of gently run your fork through the rice. It's a big ball right now. Alright, so now that we have it fluffed, okay, so let's bring it on over here so we can season it up together. So what makes white rice really nice, I'll get this stuff moved out of the way. What makes this white rice really nice, and it's pretty foolproof, is it's nice because it lends to a nice, each individual grain can be separated and still be intact. And it also lends to being a little bit sticky too, so it's nice. It's a good balance of where we need to be. So, from there, I'm going to take about a tablespoon of mirin, our seasoned rice cooking liquid. Okay. I'm also going to take a tablespoon of our rice wine vinegar. I'm going to go ahead and continue to stir that around. This adds a nice little bit of flavor to the rice. A little secret. Okay? Let's go ahead and give it a good mix. Now let's try this out. Very good. So, now we have our rice seasoned up. We have our cocktail in hand. These wings look perfect to me. Okay. So we have our sauce. It's nice and sticky. Lower that down a little bit. Shake off all this excess oil. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and transfer it quickly right on into this sauce. Now what we're basically doing is kind of just cooking a little bit of that flavor into the wing and thickening up that wing sauce with the wings in it here. As you can see, it's doing a nice job of sticking to our wings. All those sugars have reduced down with the soy sauce and the pineapple, the jalapenos. So now we have a nice sticky sauce to go on top of our wings here. Alrighty, that looks great. So we're going to go ahead and turn that off. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and grab a spoon. And it's time to plate up. So let's go ahead and plate up this dish and make it look nice. So I take a little bit of this rice here, on one side of the bowl. Just like that. Okay. We'll go ahead and grab our wings. Get them nicely tossed in our sauce. Alright. Take some of these nice wings here with some of that sticky sauce on top of it. It smells great. Okay, so now we have a nice little bit like that. Take a little bit of this extra sauce, drizzle it over the top of it. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and garnish our dish. So we want some of these nice, fresh green onions on the top of it. Okay, a little bit of this nice, fresh cilantro over the top of that. And let's not forget about our sesame seeds. Let's go ahead and drop a few on top of there. And a little bit of lime juice over the top of that. Alright, so there we have it. We have an Asian-inspired Hawaiian wing with proper white rice, seasoned up with rice wine vinegar and mirin, and we have a nice jungle bird cocktail to wash it all down. Thank you for hanging out with me and cooking. Hope you enjoy, and make sure to stay tuned for the Junior Board's annual ball to raise money for our Cancer Support Center of Homo Flossmoor. Thank you and enjoy.